In previous episodes of this series, where I'm writing my ideal Fallout game, I've spoken a lot about the various joinable factions you will encounter as you play. What I've neglected to talk about in detail is the actual character that you play as. So that's what this video shall be dedicated to. Who the character is, how the initial character creator will go, and a sneak peek to the levelling system, which is going to need its own full video in the future as I have big things planned for it. First off, we have the title of the player character. In the first Fallout game, we had the Vault Dweller. In the next game, it was the Chosen One. Since then, we've had the Lone Wanderer, the Courier, the Sole Survivor. There's a clear naming convention going on here, so I've decided that the player character for Fallout 5 Raiders of New York will henceforth be known as the Traveller. There's a couple of reasons for this. First is that the Traveller is my second most viewed Skyrim build of all time, so clearly the name has some popularity to it. And second is that the entrance you make as the player character is travelling to the ruins of Nuka World. I believe that when it comes to playable characters, there are two routes you can take. Either make a very deep and well-defined character whose personality takes centre stage, or make a blank slate which the player can put any personality they want onto. For a Fallout game, the latter is the better choice. You are supposed to get to choose how you want to play the game, and you get more options when not being restricted by trying to make choices which fit with a pre-chosen personality. This is something that Bethesda does really well with its Elder Scrolls games, having you appear as a prisoner to a new land, and with no real solid details of who you are relayed to you, meaning you get to choose everything. When it comes to the Fallout games though, things tend to fall a little short. In Fallout 4 there's a whole pre-war section where it shows your family and how you get into the vault, and Fallout 3 is even worse, the game starting with your birth and then going through several points of your life, all of which are spent within the vault. I don't want that for my Fallout game. Instead, I just wanted to start with you having travelled to the starting location, and it's down to you to decide why your character showed up there in the first place. For those of you out there who are like me and love having a blank canvas to create your character backstory on, this will sound great. But I'm well aware that not everybody will like this. There's likely a fair few of you who would much rather have a bit more structure, and for this I have Backstory Selection. When you first create your character, you can pick from a list of potential backstory options. These aren't fully written out in-depth character studies, but instead just a very short description of what your character had been up to before the game started. Additionally, each of these options would slightly change the equipment you start the game with. Best way for me to explain is to show off a few of the choices. If you choose the Vault Dweller backstory option, then your character starts out wearing an unmarked vault suit, wielding a 10mm pistol, and with a small number of basic aid items. The description for this backstory would read, "You were born and raised in a vault, given a better life underground. But now you have left your home behind. Will your vault life have prepared you for the harsh realities of a wasteland?" As you can see, it's short and simple, giving you some ideas for where your character could have come from without making all the choices for you. As another example, we have the Outlaw. You start the game with a revolver, handful of bullets, and a fistful of caps. Even by Wasteland standards, you're a criminal. Your past crimes led you here, but it's your choice if you continue in your ways or seek out redemption for what you have done. I'd want to have a fair few of these options available, offering a good variety of both equipment choices and backstory ideas for the player. Obviously, none of them would offer too large an advantage, but I believe that the different starting equipment can be a great help for getting a build started right from the beginning of the game. But if you want to have nothing predetermined about your character, I'd also have an option for that. The past does not define me is the option for players who want to create a character who would be outside of confines of the predetermined list. This is the choice which ensures this selection doesn't stop anyone from creating the character they want to make. There's no way to cover every single idea people have, so this is a nice workaround for that. When it comes to creating your character, there's more to look at, including what you actually look like. Character appearance really matters for a lot of us. We want to look the part, so a well-designed and robust physical character creator is an important part of this. Plenty of hair options, maybe a height slider, the ability to manipulate fine details on the face, all of this is important. What I want to talk about though, is underwear. This is what modern Fallout characters look like when you take their clothes off, and frankly, I'm not a fan. Now look, I'm not one of those YouTubers who throws a massive pair of breasts onto thumbnails to clickbait in horny viewers, and I don't want that to be a standard feature in my Fallout game. If people want to see that kind of stuff, there's so many places online they can see it, and more. But just because I don't want my characters to be needlessly sexy, it doesn't mean plain white underwear are the only way to go. All I'm saying is that we should be able to get a few different colour options, and maybe some baggy boxer shorts and the like too. It's not a huge change, but it's a simple one I'd like to see. One other change which I see as being really simple and easy to implement is gender identity. What's this? Sarge talking about gender identity. Ooh, time to get super controversial, right? Well, no. As easy as it could be to see this as an issue, it's honestly more of a streamlining process. When the player character is addressed, a voice actor has to read out the line talking to them. If addressing the player with he/him or she/her pronouns, then it means the actor has to say those lines twice, for each option, and it has to be coded into the game, but a different voice line is said depending on the gender. In my game, I'd keep it simple by never having the character referred to by a gender pronoun. Instead, they are just they/them. This makes things a lot easier, as it's an option that works for everyone, and I honestly think that all games which have you create your own character should do this. It's an area where technically being inclusive is the easier option in every sense, so a no-brainer for me. For those wondering about gendered body types, I also wouldn't have them, instead going for more of a sliding scale option, as it would give you more choice than just basic feminine body and basic masculine body, which so often in the past have stopped me from making characters look how I want them to. Looking at you, Fallout 4's unavoidable female hourglass body shape. There's still a couple more things to cover in the initial character creator, those being special and traits. The special system is iconic within Fallout, and I wouldn't want to make any major changes to it. In terms of initial choice for this game, I'd keep it similar to Fallout 4, where the soft cap is at 10, so that's as high as you can make any one stat. In terms of how many points you can spend initially, I feel that 35 is the ideal number. This means you can have an even spread of 5 in every stat at the start of a game, or you can lower some to raise others by the same amount. In my eyes, this is the best balance, as you can go for a jack of all trades if you're unsure how to build your character, or you can min-max if you have something more specific in mind. When it comes to traits, this is another area where I can look at past games to get some good choices. Being able to provide a couple of traits at the start of a game which provide both a positive and negative effect is great for changing how things feel. The real challenge is making sure that none of the traits outshine others by too much. This is something I found to be a bit of an issue back in New Vegas, as I'd always pick good-natured and skilled, no matter the character I played as, because they were just statistically the best choices to create an overall stronger build. For this reason, I'd want to spend a lot of time ensuring the traits were as balanced as possible, with none of them offering a crazy strong bonus, instead just being minor improvements that would synergize well with certain builds. For example, the old small frame trait is a decent one that can be included, as while the bonus point of agility is a nice boost, the loss to carry weight is a permanent penalty you have to contend with. In terms of original traits I've come up with, there's a couple I'd like to share. Speed Walker is a trait which boosts standard movement speed by 5%, but reduces sprinting speed by 10%. This is one where the boosts aren't anything too dramatic, but give a slight game change. Taking this trait will reduce your maximum speed, but increase your average speed, making traversing the world a little faster overall, but hampering you when you need to really scarper. Another trait is Evil at Heart, which would double the rate at which you gain bad karma, while halving the rate you gain good karma. Because yes, I'd want to have karma in my game, although I have some fun stuff planned to make it a bit more interesting than in previous ones. For this video though, let's stick to traits, and how this one doesn't offer any major change to the character stat-wise, but is perfect for if you're wanting to roleplay as more of an evil character. Likewise, I'd want to have a counterpart trait of pure at heart, which just does the flip side. Perfect for if you want to play a morally good character instead. Honestly, traits are a bit of a tricky one, as they can't be too powerful or impressive, as they'd unbalance the game too much right from the start. This means that they need to be somewhat restrained, but that doesn't mean they're a waste. They still mix up the very start of the game a little more, which can help with replayability, something I see as a key part of the Fallout experience. Well, I think that's going to be it for the character creator video. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and make sure to subscribe with notifications on so you get to see the rest of the videos in this series as soon as they come out. I'm really enjoying presenting to you my own version of what I'd want the next Fallout game to be, and with the recent delay of Starfield, I certainly have enough time to flesh out this series with all the info you could want, and more. As always, thanks for watching. Sarge out.